that God finds Noah and he gives Noah an assignment. He says, Noah, here's what I want you to do. He says, I want you to build an ark. I want you to build an ark. I want you to build an ark because I'm getting ready to open up the windows of heaven and I'm going to pour out rain. Something you ain't never seen before. Isn't it interesting, brothers and sisters, that God tells Noah to build something that had never been built before, to prepare for something that had never been done before. Ain't that just like God? He'll give you an assignment and you're trying to figure out what in the world is this. God says, I'm using you to do something that had never been done before. Y'all ain't gonna help me preach here. God, the truth of the matter is I have discovered that God will use you to do something in your family that ain't never been done. Ain't nobody ever graduated college, but here you go. God says, I'm gonna do it in your life. Y'all don't want to help me preach. God says, I'm gonna let you buy a house. You know, we've been renting for years, but God says, I'm gonna do it for you. God says, I'm gonna do something in you that ain't never been done before. He says, no, I want you to build an ark. I'm gonna give you the specifications as to how to do it. And you got to understand, can you see it in your mind? Noah building something and people walk by and say, what in the world are you building? Noah said, an ark. Well, what's an ark? I don't know. God told me to build it. Why are you building it? I don't know. God told me to do it. Can you imagine for 120 years him smacking a hammer on a nail and they say, what you doing, Noah? I'm building an ark. Why are you building it? I don't know. God told me to do it. What is an ark? I don't know. God told me to do it. And God, I gotta tell you that that's how it may seem in some of y'all life. Lord, I'm doing this thing and I don't even understand it, but I wish I had somebody here who would say, I'm gonna be committed to it. It don't make sense. I don't understand it, but I'm gonna be committed to it. I wish I had about 10 of y'all who would clap your hands and give them glory right here. He said, I got to build, or I got to do what God has assigned to my life. Can you imagine all of the critics, all of the people coming to him and said, Noah, you crazy. You talk about it's going to rain. What in the world is rain? You talk about drops of water out of the sky. Boy, you must be crazy. But Noah said, I got to build this thing. And that's what some of y'all's testimony need to be. When somebody come and try to disturb you, you want to tell them, I got to build. I ain't got time for the foolishness. I got to build. I got something that I've got to do that God has given me a commandment to do. And I know I'm talking to somebody and you're saying, Brother Trunk, I'm trying to figure out what in the world is my assignment. I ain't no preacher. I ain't no missionary. But can I tell you that one of the greatest assignments in the world that God can give to you is to raise some children. Can I, Lord have mercy. That's one of the greatest assignments that God can give to you, to raise some children, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he won't depart from it. If your assignment is to raise children, God, you got to be committed to it. I know that sometimes it gets hard. I know that sometimes it gets rough. Sometimes you're trying to figure out how to make ends. Y'all know what I'm talking about. How to make ends meet. But I got to be committed to the assignment that he has on my life. Noah says, I got to build this thing. If it takes everything in me, I got to build this thing. Well, I got to get out of here. Come on, beans. Noah said, I got to build this thing. Yes, and that's what I came to tell a few folk this morning, that you got to be committed to the assignment. I know, Sister Grissom, that it might get hard sometimes. I know that you might have to cry sometimes. You might get frustrated and you might get like you feel like you can't go on. But you got to have a made up mind and a determined spirit that I got to build this thing. No matter what's going on, I got to build it. And the Bible says, when we get over to Genesis chapter number 7, that one day, after all Noah's building, after all Noah's constructing, that in the month that it came, that the windows of heaven were opened up, and it began to rain. What Noah had been preparing for, what Noah had been building for, now is the time, and what he had prepared for, the time has come for God to use it. And I gotta tell you, for somebody who's been working, I got to tell you that your time is coming, that what you've been building, God's getting ready to use it. Can I talk to some business owners and to tell you that your audience, that your market is coming? God is going to open the windows of heaven and pour it out, and it's going to be more than you can receive. The Bible says that Noah, he gathers his family, he gets in the ark with the instructions that God had given him. And I got to close when I tell you this, that because Noah was faithful to the building, not only was he saved, but his whole family, they were saved too. And I got to tell you that what you've been building, it's not just for you, but it's for your whole family. It's for your children and your children's children. It's for generations. And so I got to tell you to stay committed. Don't come off the wall, but keep on building. I got to close here, but I got to tell you, I just came to tell somebody, whatever you do, hold on. Whatever you do, don't give up. Whatever you do, don't throw in the towel. Whatever you do, don't walk away from it, because God, He's going to use what you've been building to save you and to save your family. I got to close here, but I got to tell you to be not weary in well doing, for in due season you're going to reap if you faint not. I heard the promises to say, is my living in vain? Is my prayer in vain? Is my fasting in vain? Of course not, because after all is eternal gain. And that's what I gotta tell you. It's not in vain what you're building. It's not in vain you raising them kids. It's not in vain you're fasting. It's not in vain you're praying. It's not in vain. God, He's gonna use what you've been building. I wish I had somebody who would help me get out of here. Why don't you lean over and find a neighbor and say, hey neighbor. Y'all didn't say it like I said it. I tell you what I want you to do. You gotta get your best preacher voice and lean over and say, hey neighbor, don't stop building. Don't stop building. Don't stop praying. Don't stop fasting. Because yes, God, He's gonna use what you've been perfecting. Lord, I feel like I want to talk to the college students. Don't you give up. Don't you throw in the towel. Don't you walk away. You stay in class, because after a while you're gonna walk that stage, and God, He's gonna use what He Yes, you better stay whole, stay fast, keep holding on, because all of your building is not in vain. Everything you've been doing, all this work you've been putting on, this ain't for no reason, but God is getting ready to use the work of your hand. If I had time, I'm closing, but if I had time, Sister Williams, but God sent him to a brook called Kidron, y'all. Oh, God, this is what you told me to do, but God says if I told you that I'm going to be the one that provides for you, he sends a raven to feed him daily. He sets a brook there for him to drink by. But what do you do? Lord, when the brook dries up, I was in his will, but the brook dried up. I was in his will, but I lost the job. I was in the will. I did what he told me to do, but here I find myself, Elijah, go to a widow woman's house. I have prepared a place for you there. Hear me. If you're in his will, it's his job to provide. Got a better way to say it. Missionary Grayson, if it's his will, it's his bill. You got to worry about it. Because he's going to take care of it. Because it's in his will. Listen, I never want to preach. And I'm giving somebody the opportunity who does not know the Lord to know him in the pardon of your sin. If that's you, if you don't know him as your Savior, if you don't know him as your Redeemer, even right there where you're standing, even if you're watching online, you can lift your hands right there and say, Father, forgive me for everything that I've done that's not like you. Come into my heart, clean me up, sanctify me, purify me, make me a new creature in you. Let me never be the same again. And if you do it today, I'll live for you for the rest of my life. And I believe God is saving even now. I believe God is delivering even now. Listen, there might be somebody here. I'm closing quickly. There might be somebody here.